Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the post-race review for Dark Helmet Racing League Season 7, race number 6. We're at Suzuka. Sprint race was in the dry. Feature race was in the wet. Feature was definitely a battle for a lot of people. Lots of incidents here and there, but the sprint went pretty good. So let's get through the sprint right now, and hopefully the feature doesn't take us too long to get through. Nicely redressed. So yes, this would have been a penalty to the Lamborghini here for contact, but the redress will wipe that. But the reason why this would have been a penalty was the Lamborghini on the inside didn't get to apex, didn't make apex, didn't keep to the line, so washed out, made contact with the 616, lost a bunch of positions for the 616. No real damage, but the loss of position would have been made it a avoidable contact 2.5, but the redress here wipes all that. So good sportsmanship. Thank you very much. And that was just a stack up from everything else. Well, this is Ryan getting spun, so put noted on this, and then he should be at the tail end of the field. Rejoin was alright there, because the racing line is a lot farther in. Just go watch it from the other car just to make sure. It was a little close, but I'm inclined to leave that one right on the edge of not giving anything for it. Didn't cross racing line, and this is the last car in the field, so leave it at that. James served his drive-through on the end of lap 1, so thank you very much. We go to here, hit pit, refine where we are for the race. We'll see he went through the pits here. So thank you very much. No action. Bill. This curb was always been so deadly. And caught Phil out. Almost caught me out at one point. And then he does a good job trying to stay out of the way there. Probably takes an additional track cut penalty. Turn that on. Yeah, you gotta slow down for it, but just trying to stay out of the way. Lets that car go through. Doesn't know how much damage he has, so he turns across. I'm good with that. And now he's feeling the car out, so all good on that. No action. Alex. Causing a racing incident. It's more on Ryan than anyone. This is just two classic cars catching each other. And it kind of caught Ryan out, I think. How much Corvette was going to lift, which then he lifted, put all the weight on the nose, which iRacing hates when you do that and touch the nose on something, so around you go. So that sucks. Just watch his rejoin. Again, racing line is wider than that, so I'm good with that. Oh, no action. And that was the sprint. So, sprint was pretty clean. Nothing really to note. So let's pull up my handy dandy spreadsheet that I log all this in. Make sure I get it all noted. Okay. Let's try to get this over here so I can see the other stuff. Alright, let's get into the feature here. So straight off, before we even get to the green, looks like we had some contact. Let's see what this was, because generally before green contact, we're pretty strict on, but I'm not going to do anything with that, because that honestly looks like Mark probably had a screen go black or something like that. That looked like somebody that didn't know what they could see or anything and hit the brakes, and everyone went to go avoid. So good a job, everyone to avoid that. Pretty dangerous. I think Mark even apologized for it as it happened. So all of these guys will be no action. All Phantom 4Xs. Alright, now we get to the green, and off we go. No action for that guy. Rejoin was fine. So, no action here, but if that would have spun the Porsche, it would have been on the Corvette here, but it ended up spinning the Corvette and taking another car with him, which then parked him in the middle of the track and got collected by other people. Oh, that's unfortunate. And a meatball flag resulting. Just a lot of unfortunateness there. Just be cognizant to try not to tap the back of each other, especially when you got the car fully loaded. It generally does bad things in iRacing. This contact shouldn't ever spin a car in real life, but it does in iRacing. Fortunately, everyone that was involved in that, it's going to be a racing incident. Rob had nowhere to go. Good avoidance for the most part. And then does a good job trying to figure out how much damage he has and just trying to stay out of everyone's way as he does it. A racing incident. Todd was in this as well, who's got something for a paint job I gotta see. A Christmas Story. I figured that was it. Yeah, and that Ryan did. You can't fault the Aston Martin for moving over here. You got a Corvette coming across track. If he doesn't move, his race is over. So side to side contact here is again racing incident. Which is with this one. Racing incident. And then James, I think, was the last one on the scene here. Nope, there's a car behind him that gets it. Good avoidance by James. Unfortunately, that's where the 4X came from. So that one's going to be a no action because it didn't hit the stopped car that had spun or wasn't involved in that incident. It was this car after that. Completely unsighted. Nothing you could do there. And then that contact. So racing incident for everyone involved there for the most part. Lots of meatball flags, unfortunately. Oh, that one sucks. So, yes, avoidable contact because, T-boning people is always not advised, but there's a reason for it all to happen. So here we have the two cars going side by side through the kink into the hairpin, and just runs out of out of room, gets onto the grass, and there's nothing he can do. He's on the grass. He's trying everything to get the stop. Full brakes. ABS is not letting him stop at all. He's trying everything to try to get around the corner and minimize this, and almost gets it stopped. Just there. Good avoidance by Patrick. Good job by Troy to get that stopped, and Phil to not pile in. And then Caesar kind of backs this up and lets everyone go on their way and then rejoins. So this one's going to be a racing incident. It's avoidable. Yeah, 100%. Don't drive off the track. But could you? Not really. Everything led to that. So racing incident. That'll be the same for Troy's involvement in here. Just make sure it sits, which it is. Racing incident. You would have thought, where the hell did you come from? Same with Phil behind. Patrick got his Phantom 4X, basically. Good job by all to minimize that as much as possible. No wing on that, so that was a handful. Where are we? We're on lap 2. That white line. I learned that the hard way in practice. I did like 5 laps in the rain in the Mercedes to get my screenshot for the stream. And I touched that line on like lap 1 in the rain and did the same thing. So much for FIA high grip paint. Apparently iRacing doesn't agree. Mark would have pooped a little bit. Yeah. Robbed absolutely nothing. Nobody could have done on yours. It was everyone just still battling on lap 1 and too wide in a corner that you didn't know you couldn't go too wide in yet. So that's all it is. No action on that. Yeah, definitely a Bortolotto moment. There's no DRS involved. No action there. Ugh. That was a long slide. No action. Mark. Another spin probably. For a 2X. I touched the white line. Good job minimizing the damage that could have been. No action there. Got another 1 to 2. No cars really impacted by that. I'm not going to do anything with that one. No action. Ryan. Oh, 2-spin. That sucked. Just make sure the rejoin's good here. I'm sure it will be. Didn't impact anybody, so no action. No action. TJ. Almost caught it. No action. Me. Turn. Into turn 2. Touch the white paint. Around I go. Nobody coming. And off I go again. No action. Nice with the 2x. No action. Games with the 2x. White line involved? Yep. White lines are deadly here. Action. Alex. Just touched the rear wing off. That sucks. Probably will have another spin. Yep. Which is this one? Action. Ryan with another spin. Oh, and he touched the same paint I did. Probably driving a little frustrated from his earlier moment. And he toes. Hate to see people struggle. I definitely hate to see people disconnect. So this wasn't an incident involving multiple people that caused a disconnect. I really, really, really hate seeing those because it usually means somebody's a little annoyed. This has got a lot of damage. Let's see what he does. I'm impressed that it's sparking through the grass. It's usually where you get sparks from is things rubbing on dirt and grass. And it's definitely wet grass. And I'll just leave that at that one. This is probably the spin anyways. And it is a really impressive 360. And then he toes. Action there. Patrick, who's having a pretty strong sprint, and Petrie wasn't doing too bad either. He was in 5th when this happened. Then gets it going again. No action. There's that paint again. It looks like he probably waits for the leaders to go through. Action there. Runner in the lead with a spin. Let's cut the lead down in half when this happened. He had quite a big gap. TJ got the car fixed and probably dealing with tire warm up. Right. Good with the rejoin. That's not this one. That's at the end of the race. That's the one I'm looking for. A long, lazy 2X. Good decision on the rejoin. Nathan with the 2X. Mitch having a moment behind him. Good save by Mitch. That was a handful. No action there. James. Good decision. It is. Another white line. Action. Alex. Action. Odd. Another white line victim. Action. Action. Mitch. He was having a really strong race. He was in P4 at this point. And now P5. Pretty sure. P6. That sucks. 2 positions lost. But he battled back through one of those again, I think, for the end of the race. Runner in the lead again, having contact with the wall. That was a big one. Getting cut on the lead, and I think he was driving a little bit wounded after that because I started chasing him down a bit more. Todd with the white line again. Action. EJ. Probably a white line. White line victim. I think we're all learning right now is the white lines at Suzuka in the wet are a no-go. Similar spin to the one he had previous, but went all the way around this time. No action. Ryan with 2 minutes to go. Did he touch the white line? Yes, he did. Yeah, I figured you had damage, runner. I started matching your pace, if not being slightly faster, and I was sure that you had damage at that point. Patrick, just coming up to the line. Just takes too much curb. Gets into the puddle. Spins it around. Oh, that was a lot close. Thank you for holding your brakes. And that took him from 4th to 5th to 6th at the line. That's unfortunate. No action there. And Caesar across the line. Let's just see what this is. Just having some fun after the finish. Doesn't involve anybody else, so that was it for that one. Yeah, you can slide, and if it doesn't actually give you a 2x, you only got two 2x's. So I know you had one more on like the last lap, or 2 laps to go. Anyways, that's it for tonight. No penalties. So thank you, everyone. That was lots of fun. Unfortunate for the people that had their hands full during the feature there in the rain, but that's our last rain race of the year. Next week, or the season, sorry. Next week we're at Bathurst. No rain, and a rolling start. Should be fun for that event. A little bit of carnage with the close walls, but hopefully we can all keep it off those and race each other hard and have good fun with that. And if you're available on Tuesday, the MX-5s are at Phoenix, the road course on the inside of the oval, including some of the oval. Thanks for coming out, and